Twice a week, Van Lathan and Rachel Lindsay dissect the biggest topics in Black culture, politics, and sports on their show, Higher Learning. They discuss the most important and timely conversations while also frequently inviting guests on the podcast and occasionally debating each other. Check out Higher Learning on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode is brought to you by Visible. Maybe you've already let your New Year's resolution slip. We all have, but you can still make a 2 year's resolution with Visible. Right now, you can get a one-line wireless plan from Visible for just $20 per month for 24 months. 24 months is basically 4 Bachelor seasons. That could be 4 engagements, 4 broken engagements, so many other couples we didn't see coming. It's really an eternity in Bachelor Nation. And that's unlimited 5G data powered by Verizon with no annual contracts. Switch now at Visible.com and use the code Visible24. Don't miss out. Offer ends January 31st. New members only. Promotional rate with service on the Visible plan. For additional terms and network management practices, see Visible.com. This episode is brought to you by eBay Authenticity Guarantee. eBay knows that when it comes to jewelry, authenticity is the real gem. When you see the blue check mark that says Authenticity Guarantee, it means your next piece will be carefully inspired by jewelry experts and will always be worth its weight in gold. Whether you're looking to make a statement or build the perfect everyday look, eBay is making sure you get the real deal. With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can trust that jaw-dropping piece will always arrive jaw-droppingly real. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal. Visit ebay.com for terms.
Are these any shrimp left?
Oh my God. All of a sudden, there's no more shrimp. Shanae ate all the shrimp. I don't know what the shrimp portions are like in Ohio, but this isn't a roadside buffet. I didn't think all the shrimp would go. I'm sorry. Obviously, there's 2 things that Shanae can't keep out of her mouth, and that's my name and shrimp.
Welcome to Bachelor Party. I'm Juliet Litman. It's back. The show is back. We're back. I'm here with Callie Curry. Hi, Callie.
Hello, hello.
We just talked about sports for 30 minutes, basically, before we recorded this, so we won't do it on the podcast, in case you're all wondering. But Callie, I talked to Jesse Palmer last week, and I did make him talk about sports. I enjoyed it.
I need to listen to that podcast episode 1.
Thanks for being honest. It's like, do you have friends in your life who pretend to listen to this, but like you know that they don't?
Not really. I really don't want people to listen to it unless they're into The Bachelor, because I like when people listen to it and then will call me or text me and want to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Or people that want to, that are like, oh, I want to listen to it. And I'm like, oh, do you watch The Bachelor? And they're like, no, but I just, I want to listen. And I'm like, you literally won't enjoy it unless you watch The Bachelor. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I think the only people I know who like really listen who don't watch the show are my parents, but they don't listen anymore anyway. They're like sick of it. They're like, they don't care about the show.
We can't hear about it anymore.
They're like, we're over it. Anyway, Jesse Palmer, I just need to say, I liked him. I was excited about him. Didn't really like think about him very often. I love Jesse Palmer now. He was so delightful. And he has the most piercing green eyes I've ever seen. Like, television does not do him justice. I never really, again, Jesse Palmer just wasn't in my life. And now I'm like, give us more Jesse Palmer and please zoom in on his face so everyone can see his eyes. They're so pretty.
I think he looks good.
Yeah, but he's just looks like a regular, average, handsome man. Right?
I think he's way above average. But do I think he's
but Bachelor wise.
Yeah, no, it's just he kind of reminds me of Brendan. Like Brendan on Tayshia's season was
Piper and Brendan.
Yeah, was he was cute. But then on Bachelor in Paradise, I was like, oh, wow, he's really good looking. So I feel like maybe if we saw him in a different setting, he would look better. Yeah. Clearly, on Zoom, he looks better, which is still a screen.
It's still, but I was very close. We haven't gotten to see his eyes. I'm just telling you, we need a close up on Jesse's face to show up.
I wonder what he's
eyes.
like in person, if this is how you felt over Zoom.
Oh my God. I'm sure it's magnetic, but I'm not surprised by that. Also, he was really funny. The way he was talking about Clayton, I said this to him, was very quarterback guy. He was very much team player, brother. And also I want to support Clayton. Everything I do is for him. Just sort of staying on message of I'm here to support my team. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Clayton keeps saying
he has media lessons.
Yes. Clayton keeps saying that he likes what he's seeing out of the women. Like when he's talking to them one-on-one, he's like, I really like what I'm seeing out of you.
I like what I'm seeing. I love the effort. Very, very like chat, mat chat, like coach talk, huddle talk.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very funny to me. I don't know why, but it just always sticks out. Let's talk about this episode. So, first of all, did you miss The Bachelor for the week that it was off? Like, how do you feel? Like, were you like, oh, good episode to watch?
It did. I was going through a lot last week. So I don't know if I noticed it, but it did feel like there was like less television for me to watch. And I was like, what am I missing? So I did feel like a piece of the puzzle missing. And, obviously we've been covering The Bachelor like pretty nonstop. But I really fucking like this season.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah. So I did miss it.
I missed it a little. I was like, oh, I didn't think I missed it, but then I watched. I was like, oh, this is quite entertaining. I had a lot of problems with this episode, but I also like enjoyed it. And I came away, I would say overall, liking Clayton more. What was your feeling on him after watching this?
100% after this episode, I was more into Clayton. And I can understand why the girls would want to be with him. Like, I think he is going to make a good husband, a good partner, a good father. Like, he came across this episode super kind and goofy. And like, I personally prefer the guy that is like goofy than the guy that like wants to be cool all the time.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And it seems like once he gets goofy, he likes to be in that place, but he's like kind of a hard time getting there. But we'll obviously talk about his date with Sarah. I thought he was so sweet on it. And like, just in general, he's a dork, but like in a good way. Like I could see him. I think the best thing you can say about a bachelor is you would be happy if your friend or sister dated him. And I think that like, if your friend was dating Clayton, you'd be like, cool, seems like a good dude.
Yeah, 100%. I always say that if there's like a guy, I'm like, I would introduce him to my friends. Like I would set them up, and that's how I feel about Clayton.
Yeah, seriously. All right, let's get into the episode. So it starts where we left off with Cassidy. She had some insane quotes. Like some of the things she says are just absolutely ridiculous. How do you think he handled this?
He was more emotional than I thought he would be. Like I do think he's sad that he had to send her home.
He has a hard time with conflict. When he feels rejected by the women, it's very obvious. His sad face comes out and he just like really struggles. He
definitely had that face again. Yeah. The whole thing was weird. Like Cassie being like, I already know what you're going to say. I'm like, and then when he said that, she was like, wow, that was not what I thought you were going to say. I want to be like, what were you going to say? I really want to know.
Me too. I want to know what she was expecting. What do you think it was?
I don't know. I think she didn't seem worried that this was going to come up. So she thought Sierra was going to say something else about her. So I'm like, what did she think she was going to say? That she was like mean or something?
Or maybe like her giving Shanae advice or like other conflict with the different women. I have no idea. Like, yeah,
I wanted her to tell us.
The way it was edited, I think they made it clear that, or they only like gave you the idea that this could be the issue essentially. So I don't know what it was, but I was really dying to know as well. But she says to the women before she talks to Clayton, "Who has the rose, bitches?"
She's also like, she was like, "I don't think that was a good move. You're gonna go talk to Clayton about the one girl that he clearly likes. Like, okay, great strategy." And I was like, well, I mean, actually, yeah, great strategy because she's gonna get you. I guess it's never happened that a rose has been taken away. Yeah. But she was like, what is he going to do? Take the rose back? It's like, yeah, actually, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, bitch. Who are we calling a bitch now? Although I don't know that she is. They just made her seem nuts. But she also made herself seem so unappealing. She kept emphasizing how long it had been since she last had a relationship, which like, I don't know if that's the way that you want to present yourself when you're trying to get this dude to like you. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all. That's not what I mean. But she kept emphasizing, she's like, it's been so long since I had a relationship. It's like so long.
She was like, the last time but she was speaking very specific so that she wasn't lying.
Yeah.
So she was like, I haven't spoken to someone who I wanted a relationship with in years.
Yes.
So she's basically like, I did talk to a hookup, but I wasn't planning on dating him.
She's like, I've been having a lot of sex, but no one that I actually want to date, which I respect. Good for you, girl. Do whatever you want.
I also am like, why didn't you just keep going with it? Then she was like, well, I did FaceTime someone. And I'm like, if you're gonna go that route, you gotta keep going. Like, Shanae is fully lying, but she is committed.
Shanae is something else. We'll come back to her. So when the Sally drama happened in week 1, Grocery Store Joe was like, I've been on the show 5 times. How did Sally have a phone to call someone?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Similarly, how did Cassidy have a phone the day before to be FaceTiming with her friends with benefits? Like,
well, are you able to have your phone before you actually go on?
I don't know.
Like, because they have to quarantine, and before that wasn't a thing.
Yeah, that's true.
So I assume you're allowed to have your phone in quarantine because you're in
like
your
for
hotel
a longer period
room.
of time.
They can't have you just. Can you imagine quarantining without your cell phone?
I think that at least for Tayshia's season, I remember Dr. Joe being like, yeah, I didn't have my phone. It was so boring. All I did was like play music and like try to learn Spanish on flashcards. So I don't know, but it might be like evolving. Yeah.
That sounds like torture to be in a hotel room for a week with
also,
no phone and no TV.
Yeah.
There's no way.
And like alone. Like they're not even with another person.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's like that's like treatment.
I know, it's terrible. It's like, yeah, it's like being like in rehab or something like that. It's awful.
That I wouldn't be able to do the show just based off that.
I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to be cut off from your phone and humans.
Not fun.
Like no interaction with anyone.
Just you and your thoughts for a week.
Yes. I would probably, and then I guess like they probably don't really want you to read that much because it's just boring, but I don't know. Maybe you can. I don't know. Tyler used to say that he read while he was on The Bachelorette because that way no one would talk to him, but like they basically like discourage you from reading. All they want you to do when you're not on camera.
Like when you're in the house.
Yeah. Is like, or not on a date is like talk about the lead with the other people. So anyway, I was just confused about how Cassidy still had a phone for that to happen, but I thought her explanation in general was pretty funny. I enjoyed it. Like, she's so nutty.
Obviously, the TikTok came out and she said she went home. But like, if that TikTok wouldn't have come out, like, I probably would have guessed she didn't go home this week.
Me too. Yeah, I agree with that. I think I would have thought that she stayed. I thought it was kind of funny watching him walk upstairs for some reason. I was like, wow. So she like ran away to upstairs and then he went to find her and he probably like had never been up there. I wonder what it was like for him to like see the house and stuff.
Oh, I forgot about this. When they were having their talk, when she like leaned in and kissed him.
Oh yeah.
I felt like he
awkward.
was it was so awkward. And I felt like he was like, okay, like you're not getting it. This isn't so you're thinking it's going in a different direction than it's going.
Yeah.
Like you could see like the pause in his face from her doing that.
I want to come back to that thought for 1 second, but it'll lead into something else. So I just want to say, so like she ends up going home and then apparently it was like a really rough night because then at the rose ceremony, everyone's like weeping as a bunch of 3 women end up going home. And it's Kate, NC, and Tessa. And I have to say, those 3 probably seem like the 3 I most personally would want to know. Like, I'm like, he sent home like the cool girls. Like, I'm just like, those all seem like normal people.
Like some of the more normal girls in the bunch.
And I thought Kate was staying because she had some big quotes up top. She was like, oh, wow, she said, oh, wow, in a really dramatic way about Cassidy. And then she was like, and Cassidy's grinding everyone's gears. Like they gave Kate a lot of time before she went home 10 minutes later. So they go home. Everyone's like crying. Like the women are so upset. I was like, what else happened that we didn't see?
I don't know. But Shanae narrates a lot of the interactions between the women this week. And she's not wrong. Like Shanae is definitely crazy. But she's not wrong. Like, she's like, I'm not trying to become besties with you guys. Like, this is so fake. You guys are so fake. I think it's fine to be like friends. So I'm not calling them fake. But like, I don't think it's that big of a problem that she's not trying to be like BFFs with the girls.
I agree. But she is like antagonizing them.
Yes.
Which
no,
is
I mean,
different.
like, there's other problems with Shanae, but her point on like everyone trying to be best friends while also dating the same guy isn't realistic. And I'm like, yeah, she's not wrong.
Yeah, it's definitely true. I think if you actually like the guy and you think you're in contention, at least this is what I would be like. I would have a couple of friends who I didn't think were in contention and that like I would feel comfortable getting close to. And I don't know, like we haven't seen we haven't seen a ton of Teddy since week 1, basically. And I wonder if that's because she's like not so friendly with the other girls or something like that, or the other women. But I don't know what it is, but the women we do see are like the ones who are like chatting with each other a lot during the rose ceremonies and like gossiping. And the women who are just kind of keeping to themselves, we don't really see outside of their dates. Like that's even true for Sarah, who we got a lot of because she got a one-on-one. But otherwise, we have like not seen her at all. By the way, I really like Sarah.
Me too. Love Sarah. I think she's so cute. There was a few women this week where I was like, who are you?
Hunter. I was like,
Hunter, Jill.
Yes.
Like there was a few that I was like, have I seen you before?
Yeah, seriously. So I think we just need to address some problems with this episode. And what you said about Cassidy going in to kiss Clayton, that wasn't so bad. She kissed him on the cheek. He clearly wasn't into it. But I did feel like Clayton was kind of like violated in a way that like wouldn't be tolerated if it was a bachelorette. Like, for example, when like we'll get to this first group date in a second, but also when Shanae like went up and like twisted his nipples on the beach and then made out with him, and even like them putting him in his underwear knowing he like has some body insecurity, like I just thought that was messed up. And like that's the kind of stuff that like you kind of get away with because the show gets away with because he's like an objectively handsome dude. But if it was reversed, it wouldn't be okay. And I'm not saying that like, and I think that the experience of men and women are different, so it's not like one is equal with the other, and like he probably ultimately was fine with it, but I don't know for sure. But I was just like, there's other ways to make the show entertaining. Like you don't need to put Clayton in his underwear, and like someone should say to Shanae like that's not appropriate. I don't know, like the Shanae, like that just like bothered me because I think we would be a lot more upset if it was a woman.
I think I would be less upset if Clayton seemed into it.
Yeah,
but also I don't think I'm upset. I was just like, oh, that's kind of weird. But I get your point. If it was a woman, I would have an issue. But it seemed like he was like, when they kept zooming out from the kiss, where his hands were on her side, kind of like, okay. And like he couldn't really stop her. It was just odd to watch.
Yeah, it was like, it was uncomfortable. It was just weird. I don't know. And that leads into the first date, the group date at the Avalon. Callie, have you ever been there?
No.
I have, for an ESPYs party. It's like, it's on Vine. It's like Vine in Hollywood, or like just above Hollywood, basically.
I don't think I've been there.
I wouldn't say it's a great venue. I probably bet it was really cheap. It was like,
well, all they needed was a black room for this. So
I know.
And a spotlight.
I was thinking it's really cheap, but then I was like, but they could have done this anywhere, like literally anywhere. They could have shot on like an empty lot. It was super weird. The Avalon, anyway, I was last there for an ESPYs party and several years ago. And Caitlin Bristow is like the host, which they had Nick do this, I think, on Michelle's season. Where
I thought
it's
it was
like
Claire's.
One of them on one of the Bachelor.
Because wasn't Dale in it?
I don't remember, but this has become like a staple of the show with like
it's just
former lead comes back for like fake therapy session. I completely agree. I absolutely despise it. Like just despise.
I do wish that we could see some of the behind the scenes. Like, I'm like, are they like being like, it's okay, open up, tell us your worst trauma. Like, what's happening to get these girls? Like, Serene was like bawling, crying. So I'm like, they must have been sitting there just like all, and they don't show everyone's story. So like, we didn't even hear some of the shit that the other girls had to say.
Yeah. And it's like without context, Caitlin does nothing other than like introduce the date. We basically never see her again, except for her to be
one question.
Hey, now we're going to lighten the mood. And it's like, what? It's like, it's just like a trauma circle. And it's like weirdly exploitative. They all end up crying. And like, yeah, we got to know about them in, I guess, a way that was, builds story. But it just seems like pretty mean and like manipulative. And I just I don't like watching it.
No, I know it's too much.
I'd rather watch like wacky arts and crafts like they do sometimes.
I think they may have done it for Michelle's season 2, but I do remember Dale being in one of them. And I just, I do think it was a waste of Caitlin, because I would like to have seen her more and interact more. Same way I felt about Nick on that season. And then I also feel like, is this like a date 2-3 material?
I don't know. And I guess it's been 2 weeks. They mentioned that as related to Shrimpgate.
I literally wrote in my notes Shrimpgate.
That was pretty funny. I just hate it. And I definitely like knowing that about Clayton, about how he felt about his body, and then just sort of like, his own struggles, definitely like gave him more, like, just we got to know more about him. So it gave him some more depth because we just know more. But does it have to come out that way? Like, I hope he was prepped, I hope he was prepped beforehand to know what the date was, to like feel comfortable saying it and didn't feel pressured.
I will say, I think former fats are the best kind of people. So it did make me feel like, oh, Clayton's probably awesome. Like, that's how I felt after hearing that. But some of the stories, like Hunter's story.
I know Hunter's story was like, so
what
upsetting.
A fucking psycho ex-boyfriend.
I hope she's okay. And I hope that she felt supported in that moment. And
it seemed like it. Like, I loved how Serene reacted to it. And I know, like, whatever, Serene maybe have made some mistakes. Although, I was thinking about this, and although Serene may have posted like, an unflattering picture, I don't know what other adjective I should use there.
You mean the one because she was with friends who were wearing like MAGA stuff, right?
Yeah, but like, I don't know if you can always control what other people are doing, and I'm sure if you're one of the only people of color and like grew up that way, a lot of the times like we tend to try to just fit in. So I no longer want to hold that against her, and I like Serene a lot.
I do too. She also seems pretty genuine, and I think that's a really good point. And also, it's hard to judge people for just one Instagram, and I think we
do that too often and too easily.
Yeah, and I mean everything with Matt and Rachel last year was so charged, and I think that was handled really poorly by basically everyone involved except for Matt, who I don't think had like much of a role in it. But, they seem to be working through it together. So, maybe there's ways to work through this stuff after you make a mistake. I hope there is. Otherwise, how do you learn?
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe, and I feel like a lot of people have said this, maybe we're too quick to cancel people and might need to like rethink how we work around. I mean, obviously there are things that it's like, that's a no-go for me. But I don't think this was one of them. And from what I've seen on the show so far, I really like her.
She also addressed it, like even before she was on the show. Like she didn't try to avoid it. She didn't like wait for guidance. Like she clearly just addressed it on her own. So I give her credit for that too. So
also she knew this was going to come up going on the show clearly, and still was just like, well, I want to find love, and I'm not like, that's something that happened. So why am I like running away from it? Yeah.
And I also think that like, she was honest in this date as well. And I don't think anyone like came off poorly or at all in this date. Like, that's not why I didn't like it. I just think it's like, of the show, it's fucked up to like continually put people in this position. It's just like, it's not entertaining. Like, that's just sort of like the bottom line. And it's cruel. So like, I don't even know what purpose it gives.
Do you ever think like watching this, like, what would you say? No, I'm not asking you to. I'm not asking you to tell. I'm not asking you to tell me. I'm asking you, like, do you ever think about like, oh, like if I was in that situation, do I have like a story on hand to just like that I'm comfortable talking about? Like, I'm wondering. There has to be girls that are like, I don't know what to say. I have nothing to say, or nothing I want to share with these people I've known for 12 days.
The only prompt we heard Caitlin say was, stand up if there are parts of yourself you're not proud of. So everyone stands up. And then straight from there, we go into like hearing people's kind of like confessionals, right? And I'm like, what was the prompt that brought this up? Like, was it specifically about body stuff? Like, because I don't think that's what she was asking when she was like, stand up if there are parts of yourself you're not proud of. Like, if that was the question for that, I would be like, yeah, I really regret being a part of sorority rush and like ever speaking harshly about girls I didn't really know when I was in college, like something like that or whatever. Like, but that's not the same as like, what are you insecure about? Or like, what are your,
or like
struggles?
What was like, I was going to say, it was like, I don't think that, I guess like maybe she's not proud of herself for the way that she acted in that moment, but that was kind of like what someone did to her more than like her doing something bad.
Yeah. I know. It's just like, there clearly was a different prompt that we didn't get to see.
Yeah. And even Clayton's like what Clayton said, like, that's not something that you're not proud. Like, you got teased, so you felt insecure. That's not something you shouldn't be proud of. It's like something that happened.
Yeah. It must have been the response to a different question. It's just like weird that we didn't get to see it. I don't know. But I don't know. I hadn't really thought about that. I guess like, what about you? It's a good question.
I feel like you just, This is fucked up. I feel like you try to think of something that like will make people, something that was like tragic in your life that like will make you more relatable to some people or make people feel badly for you. I don't know if that's like what they're thinking, but I feel like that's what I think in that moment. Like, if I'm sitting there and everyone's telling these stories, I'm like, oh fuck, what can I say that like, you know, like gives people the same reaction?
Yeah, totally.
But that's also not good.
It's 2 weeks in, right? Like, do you want to reveal like your deepest insecurities? If you don't, I don't blame you. If you're able to and you're comfortable, like, good for you, like, genuinely. But the expectation that you're like, okay, I've known all of you for 2 weeks, and Clayton, I've spent a cumulative 45 minutes with you. I'm ready to tell you about like how hard things are for me, is absolutely ridiculous. So anyone who didn't feel comfortable, we see you.
Not even 45 minutes for a lot of them.
I know.
Elizabeth made such a good point in this episode where she was like, I've spoken to you 3 times and 2 of them I was defending myself. So I've had 1 conversation with you. And I was like,
I like Elizabeth.
Oh, you like her now?
I do. She reminds me of Kelsey from...
Oh, yeah. She does have Kelsey energy.
Peter's season.
But
and I liked Kelsey too.
I think Elizabeth is handling this like the best possible way. I don't even think that I'd be able to keep my composure the way that she has. She doesn't even get that like when like if I was her, when I went back to talk to Shanae, I would lose it on her. Mm-hmm. And she's been able to like sit down, like speak very clearly. And I do think, by the way, that Elizabeth has been nice to her. Like she might have like been thinking you're crazy. Yeah, but I feel like Elizabeth's just like, I'm going to try to keep my distance from you, but I don't want this to be an issue anymore. She even said like, I hope that drama is done with. I think we've spent too much time on this. And then here it comes again.
Shanae, she can't be stopped. She's back. Just to cap the first group date, Eliza gets the rose. I like Eliza. I don't recall.
Love Eliza.
Yeah, we don't know a ton about her, but she seems fun. She and Clayton, they like do the mirror thing together.
I think Eliza seems sweet, like kind and sweet. And I can see Clayton wanting to be with that kind of like woman. I also love Serene. We touched on her, but I like their conversation. Also, was that their first kiss? The music in the background like kind of built it up. And I was like, oh, maybe
the swelling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. They definitely presented it that way. It's a good question. I mean, she hasn't been on the show a ton, so maybe they've kissed and we haven't seen it, but that was a really sweet moment. I don't know. He seems to really like to connect. Like he likes a lot of one-on-one time, which I get, you know. It's also probably like
trying to find his wife.
Yeah. And also it's like a relief when you're in a sea of women, you're like so overwhelmed. So she seems great though. I like Eliza. It's a good group.
I have written down in my notes, Eliza seems like she's going to be a great wife to someone, because I don't think it's Clayton, but I do think she will be a great wife to somebody.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing her on Paradise. She's one of my top Paradise picks for sure.
Also, I think I've said this. There's a lot of like, not that there's not always this, but there's a lot of really like physically pretty women on this season.
Yeah, I think it's a great group, not just because they're pretty, but like just they also seem like they kind of like each other. It seems sort of fun in the house, except for Cassidy and Shanae.
Don't you feel like there's been the past couple of seasons, like a lot of the guys are getting along, a lot of the girls, like it seems like people aren't like becoming like arch nemesis as much as in the past.
It's a good point. I actually was thinking, I thought Matt's group of women was like excellent, just like so top notch. A lot of like just absolute winners. And this seems like a good group too. This episode is brought to you by eBay Authenticity Guarantee. eBay knows that when it comes to jewelry, authenticity is the real gem. When you see the blue check mark that says Authenticity Guarantee, it means your next piece will be carefully inspired by jewelry experts and will always be worth its weight in gold. Whether you're looking to make a statement or build the perfect everyday look, eBay is making sure you get the real deal. With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can trust that jaw-dropping piece will always arrive jaw-droppingly real. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal. Visit ebay.com for terms. This episode is brought to you by Visible. Maybe you've already let your New Year's resolution slip. We all have, but you can still make a 2 year's resolution with Visible. Right now, you can get a one-line wireless plan from Visible for just $20 per month for 24 months. 24 months is basically 4 Bachelor seasons. That could be 4 engagements, 4 broken engagements, so many other couples we didn't see coming. It's really an eternity in Bachelor Nation. And that's unlimited 5G data powered by Verizon with no annual contracts. Switch now at Visible.com and use the code VISIBLE24. Don't miss out. Offer ends January 31st. New members only. Promotional rate with service on the Visible plan. For additional terms and network management practices, see Visible.com.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You might say all kinds of stuff when things go wrong, but these are the words you really need to remember. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. They've got options to fit your unique insurance needs, meaning you can talk to your agent to choose the coverage you need. Have coverage options to protect the things you value most. File a claim right on the State Farm mobile app and even reach a real person when you need to talk to someone. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Next, one-on-one date, Sarah. Love Sarah. She seems sweet to me too. Sarah
very
seems
sweet, very cute, goofy.
Yeah. So I think they had one of the worst one-on-one day dates you can have, one of the best night dates. So I guess you take the good with the bad. But the day date was a scavenger hunt, which they had to do in their underwear around downtown LA. That's a no for me. Like, I don't want to run around a city in underwear.
I don't really
awful.
care about that. Like, I'm never going to see these people again. I don't care if they see me in my underwear.
Just seems uncomfortable.
I just think, like, why?
Yeah. Why?
What is the
it's
purpose?
A great question.
Like, they could have done the
know.
exact same thing with clothes on and nothing would have been different.
Totally.
Wouldn't have
It's a
changed
great
the result
point.
at all.
And also, like, it was not, I think I would have enjoyed seeing them dance maybe more in clothes. Because sometimes, like, clothes, like, help, you know, with, like, the motion or whatever.
Also, like, definitely more confidence in clothes to dance, probably.
Yes. The singing and the dancing was just a lot. Again, also, like, why was Becca there? She was there for, like, 1 second. Just have Jesse Palmer do that. Like, you don't need Becca.
By the way, that's the point of Jesse Palmer. Like, Chris Harrison used to do that. I'm like,
I know.
they keep bringing back Bachelor alum. I just don't get it.
I
Way,
really don't either.
Love Becca, love Caitlyn. Like, you brought back two women that I love. And I still was like, I didn't really see enough of them. So, like, what was the point?
And also, they probably had a quarantine for that. Like, I don't get it. Like, what is the point of Jesse Palmer?
Got paid.
What is the point of Jesse Palmer if he's not doing that?
I don't know. And I think he could have done it totally fine.
He also would have just been, like, made more sense. I don't know. I didn't get it. And then the thing that was the weirdest, though, was when they stopped for ice cream. I was like, was that part of the date? Or is she just there?
I don't know. Also, like, I hate that they, like, made Becca, like, watch them sing and make faces. Like, I'm sure Becca was like, this is so stupid.
I know. I like Becca's outfit. She looked cool. That was one of my takeaways.
I really, really like Becca. So
me too. I thought it was funny when she was talking about, like, her experience as the Bachelorette, like how she got more comfortable and stuff since her guy sucked. I would just be like, I don't want to reference that. Moving on. But whatever. It would have been nice if it was her and Thomas, actually. Like, if they were like,
oh yeah, that would have been cute.
This would have been helpful for us or whatever.
Yeah, but I also think that, like, they could have made it make more sense. Like, if there was a date that Becca went on that she loved and then she's like, this is my favorite date and it helped me because blah, 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 blah. And that's why I'm doing this date. Not just like, yeah, dates that push me out of my comfort zone were great. So I'm going to push you guys out of your comfort zone. Get naked.
Just not necessary. No one needed that. The worst part of it was definitely the piñatas, how they had to hit the piñatas and then answer these questions. That just was like, no thanks on all of it. Everything about it bad.
They did like a little, like, montage of them hitting the piñata. And at one point, Sarah was on Clayton's shoulders. And I was like, getting on your shoulders in my underwear in, like, not in a pool is just weird. And I was thinking, like, there was multiple things that happened on this date that made me realize how big I was. Cause, like, her on her shoulders, I was like, I could never do that. And then there was a time where she, like, ran and jumped in, like, into his arms. And I was like, couldn't do that either.
I never. Just awful. The whole thing was, like, just so uncomfortable. I was not into it.
It sucked because I actually really like Sarah.
Yeah, I liked her a lot too. But so then they got rewarded. I thought the Van Gogh thing was really cool. I've always been, like, a proponent of, like, the art date just because, like, there's something to look at. It's like a conversation piece. And also, like, Van Gogh is, like, everyone's familiar. If you're not familiar with Van Gogh, it's like a kind of a red flag. So it'd be good to know that right away.
Yeah, the Starry Night backdrop was really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It seemed like actually like a fun thing to do. Something you might actually do on a date. And then two great things. First of all, Sarah was given the opportunity to, like, share about herself in a non-forced way. That was, like, I think, an important story. It was cool to hear about how you know, about her family and how she was adopted and just like the struggle she's had to where she is now. And moreover, they got to have a private concert, but it was like semi-normal. It was like, you know, a string quartet who, you know, didn't sing, and you weren't like having to pretend that you loved this music of some random country singer. So I thought that was great too. I was like, good job. They should all be this way.
Yes. Also, I wrote down in my notes, I have wondered before what it's like to be adopted like outside of your race.
Yeah.
I think adoption in general is like an amazing thing to do. There are so many kids that need to be adopted, and not enough families that are willing to do it. So I love that. But I like totally was like when she was talking, I was like, I think that's like a really real thing that people that are adopted have to go through if they're adopted outside of their race, and learning how to fit in, and like I don't know. I just feel like it would be really hard.
Yeah. I honestly, I can't even imagine. I have like no frame of reference for understanding, but I thought I just like that they were representing more and more types of families on the show, not just different races, but like since this show is so much about, you know, finding a partner and building a family, I think the most diversity in types of families is also really important, because I think that's like a very isolating thing as you're a kid if you feel like your family is different or whatnot. So that's like as important to me as you know, any other kind of diversity too.
Yeah,
So,
I think that it's just kind of showing that like a family can look a million different ways.
Yeah, it's totally. And that was a big part of Michelle's season 2, which was really great. So
by the way, you loved in Michelle's season when she went on the museum date as well. So really into museums, art.
I don't even remember her museum date, but yeah, sounds right.
It was with Clayton.
Remember
it was
so
like
lucky.
a kids museum?
Oh yeah, that was okay. Minus the kids museum part. But yeah, agreed. I love museums. So I went to the Met yesterday. It was great. Wonderful place. All right, Sarah gets the rose. She deserved it. We like Sarah. She's definitely going really far.
Yeah, for sure. There's a few people that you can just like feel are in it for the long haul.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Teddy, just because Jesse Palmer said that.
Rachel.
Those are the 3 for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Susie.
I think that's... Oh, yeah, and Susie. Yes, I would say Susie, Sarah, Rachel, and Teddy. That's my final 4. They all seem fine.
Yeah.
And then Shrimpgate happened. Great stuff. The shrimp counter was really funny. So I just want to say, I don't think 8 shrimp is a lot. Maybe Elizabeth should have made more shrimp.
I guess it depends on how big the shrimp are.
They looked small.
They looked 21 to 25 count. You know what I'm talking about in the grocery store?
Yeah, the frozen kind. Yeah.
Like not too small, but definitely not like jumbo. But also like, do people just eat shrimp?
Well, she cooked them. It was like
I know. I love shrimp. Shrimp is one of my like favorite things to eat. But like, I never just eat shrimp on a plate. Like there's shrimp and rice, shrimp and noodles, shrimp and a salad, like something. And so like, yeah, if I'm just eating shrimp, I'll probably have 8. If I have shrimp and noodles,
don't you think this is a carb-free household?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
There's no way they're having carbs. To look bloated the next day on TV, there's no way.
So if I am just consuming shrimp, then yeah, 8 shrimp is not like 8 shrimp is not a lot. But if there's other things with it, like shrimp and noodles, you cannot have 8 shrimp and noodles. You will be so full.
Honestly, garlic butter shrimp is calling out for rice. So not having rice with it is criminal. Like I'm sorry, that would be delicious.
Shrimp scampi at Cheesecake Factory, who generally overserves, is 6 shrimp.
That's it?
Yeah.
I love shrimp scampi. It's one of my favorite meals. It's so delicious.
So good. I pretty much like shrimp anything. So
me too. I love shrimp. I think that's like, it's fairly cheap to buy in the grocery store. Like if you buy shrimp, like it's pretty easy to make, takes on so many flavors, doesn't take very long. That's the other thing. Elizabeth could have made more shrimp, but
Shanae did.
Yes, it's true. Shanae can't keep 2 things out of her mouth: my name and shrimp. That's not what I thought Elizabeth was going to say. It's obviously a missed opportunity for like implying she's slutty or something, but it's probably better that she didn't. Maybe I'm a bad person for thinking that.
Elizabeth is classy. She wasn't going to go there. By the way, she's not wrong. 2 things that Shanae loves to talk about.
It's true. Also, I do love shrimp though. I don't know.
I was really hoping that someone said shrimps and it never happened.
Do you say shrimps?
I've definitely gotten caught in the moment talking about shrimp and said shrimp.
It's like Bachelors in Paradise. Shrimps in Paradise.
It's something similar to that where I just put S's on a lot of things that don't need S's.
It's like when you get excited, you want more of it, so you imply it's plural. Shrimp,
exactly.
Bachelor in Paradise.
Bachelors in Paradise, I think, is like much more forgivable than shrimps. But I was hoping for shrimps.
I don't know. I have to think about that one. I do love shrimp,
bachelors is a word. Shrimps is not a word.
I like seeing them like in the house. I wish we got more of that. Like, give us a real world vibe, you know? That was like, it was just fun. I guess it's probably usually boring, but I did really enjoy that. I also like seeing them without makeup and like what their casual clothes are like. I just like to see when they're just being themselves.
Yeah, they probably don't show us a lot of it because there's just like not a lot to show.
Yeah, it's probably just super boring. If it was interesting, they would show it. Anyway, Shanae brings the heat.
Yeah, do we think it's rude that they didn't look at her when she said, "Do you guys want shrimp?"
To Shanae?
Yeah, like I feel like she's taking things personal and thinks the show is like about her.
Well, clearly they don't like her, so they're probably ignoring her. So is it rude? Yes. Does it have to be a big deal? No. Like she's turning it into like I'm a martyr, but it's really just like, girl, you suck. No one wants to hang out with you. Plus, you continually use Elizabeth's ADHD against her. Like at the end.
That's not good.
It's just like she's clearly a jerk. So
I mean, even like you took 8 out of 16 shrimp that were made for everyone. Which, by the way, 16 shrimp for the house is not a lot.
I know. How many women were having the shrimp?
I hope 1 or 2.
Like. Yeah, I need a minimum of 4 shrimp if that's my meal. And no carbs. I mean,
4? There's no
minimum.
There's no way I'm full after 4.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I also
shrimp on a plate. I also like she was like touching everything with her hands.
She's picking them up.
I didn't like that.
I was kind of impressed that they cooked though. I'm surprised that they don't just have other food catered.
By the way, someone one of our listeners DM'd me and was like, from listening to you on Bachelor Party, I'm losing my mind. I think you might like this. And it's a travel sheet that you take to hotels with you.
Oh, interesting. That reminds me of Curb Your Enthusiasm when Larry's having the relationship with Gina Gershon. She's an Orthodox woman and they have sex through the sheet.
Oh, yeah. That is not what she's talking about. But it was just like, since you're such a germaphobe, I feel like maybe this is something you'd be interested in. I really appreciated it.
There's nothing germier than the top blankets at a hotel. That's got to go get off the bed immediately. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. That actually also makes me wonder, like, what's the bedding like in the mansion? How often does it get cleaned? Do they clean the house? Like,
I think they don't. There's no way they have housekeepers, right?
They probably have someone come through. There's no way they can just have like 20 women in a house with no one cleaning it.
Well, the women are supposed to. But then again, I mean, do we think the men are supposed to?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If men have to, they have to have a cleaner. There's no way I could trust 20 men to keep a house clean. There's no fucking way. That's like a fraternity house. Have you been into a clean fraternity house before?
No. Only when it's like parents' weekend and they get like a cleaner.
By the way, that was like me thinking. I've never been inside a fraternity house, so I don't know. But that's
you haven't?
Never.
No.
I know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
I was in a few. I was inside a few college. No, they're
from
not
what
nice.
I've seen in movies, they're not clean.
No, from my personal experience, they're not clean. Last date of the week, the second group date, the Baywatch date. Question: did you watch Baywatch as a child?
I don't think I'm old enough. It went off the air at 9 when I was 9 years old. Like, I hope I wasn't watching it at 9, which brings me to my point of Gabby. Gabby was like, I used to love that show as a child. I was like, as a child, you were watching Baywatch? I feel like it was like not appropriate for under 10. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I watched a lot of inappropriate TV and movies when I was very little, but like me and my best friend used to race home from like middle school to watch Baywatch when it was like in syndication.
Middle school's like 12, 13, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just thinking I was like, as a little child, made me think of like a 6-year-old watching Baywatch. And I was like, I don't know.
It wasn't at all like, I don't think I knew what was going on. I just was like, Lieutenant Stephanie and whatever.
I literally know nothing about it except for the slow-mo and Pamela Anderson. So I just assume it's sexual.
She played CJ. I mean, I guess it was for like adult men who were watching, but me and my best friend were just like into the soap opera
drama
of it.
Yeah.
And like David Hasselhoff was like funny, but anyway, Nicole Eggert, she looks completely different, but I knew it was gonna be her when they said it's a Baywatch date. She also was in Charles in Charge. Did you ever watch that?
No.
Oh my God, what did you like? What were you watching as a kid?
Like grown-up shows.
Anything? I don't know. Like, what's like the most important show to you as like an 8-year-old?
An 8-year-old, probably like Clarissa Explains It All, or Hey Arnold,
good one.
Or Lizzie McGuire.
Yeah, I didn't.
Or
really,
Even Stevens.
Even Stevens was good. I was a little old for that. But I was like really, really into Charles in Charge. That and like Saved by the Bell, California Dreams, like
never
all that
heard of
crap.
California Dreams, but
City Guys. CITY, you can see why these guys. Oh my God, Reggie Theus was on it. It was great.
I've never seen or ever heard of what you're talking about. But I would say grown-up shows. My mom really liked Friends and Party of Five. So
Love
I
Party of Five, yeah.
Those with her. But I don't know
Great
how old
stuff.
I was, but I feel like those were like me like watching grown-up shows. I didn't watch appropriate television either because I had older siblings,
Same.
sibling. But like they were all my, like I was surrounded by boys literally 24/7. So it was more like Mortal Kombat, you know?
Sure. And like video games and stuff.
And like Dragon Ball Z. I used to love that.
Oh my God, I was too old for that too. But I was very into Friends. I don't know. But when I was a kid, my mom used to take me and my brother to the movies on Mondays after school when I was like really little, like 5. It was the Monday movie club. And I saw so many movies that I just didn't understand what was going on. Anyway, back to Nicole Eggert. She was on Charles in Charge and she was like just like a regular teen. And then she was on Baywatch and she became like a sex pot on Baywatch. And it was weird.
I'm looking her up right now to see what she looked like back in the day.
She looked very 90s. She had like short blonde hair. She just looked totally different. But like Baywatch launched a lot of careers. Like Carmen Electra was on it too.
Nicole. Oh, I didn't know that.
Eggert. Yeah. Anyway, that was a Baywatch date.
Did you notice that everyone was shivering?
Yes. It looked really cold and it was like windy. And it was like, it was cloudy.
I was like, they need to do a better job of like hiding the shivers.
Yeah.
As they're making them stand there in swimsuits.
Yeah, it just seemed really unfun. Also, watching like the other women do this stuff with Clayton is just like a big no for me. I'm not interested in that.
I feel like there was like, you know, like in like basketball games or football games when something like good or bad happens, you hear like a, like I felt like there was like a crowd reaction to her kissing him. And I'm like, Clayton had to have heard that.
Yeah, I agree. It also seemed just like a really awkward date. I guess it was longer than we saw because we didn't see them also do the post-credit scenes.
Yeah,
they're always longer than we think.
Yeah, the post-credit scenes showed like way more things like prompts that they had to do. Yeah.
We saw them apply sunscreen, do CPR in a dummy, and then master the slow-mo run. And then that's when Shanae just made out with her. And Gabby was really into it. It also was so much of the black box for their butts. And it's just like, can you not show like a non-full coverage butt on TV?
Apparently not.
Seems ridiculous.
There was a lot of weirdness, like weird awkwardness in this date.
Yeah, it was. It was just another one that I was like, no. But
very cringy.
I guess it was of all of the dates. I was like, this is like in a weird way the least objectionable to me. I'm like, all right, fine, Baywatch, sure.
I mean, I don't know. The CPR was weird.
It was inappropriate, I guess. Maybe I was beaten down by the end of the episodes. I was like, whatever, this is all fine.
I'm just thinking about like, there's no music. Like they're all sitting there silently watching this with Clayton standing over there shivering.
It's too cold. I mean, it's like too cold, and also they can't like cover up. They have to stay in these red bikinis. It's, I guess, rude. Ultimately, Gabby got the Groot Rose date based on, I don't know why, I guess her vigorous CPR. I mean, that's the only thing I could really tell.
I think it's because she was like really into it. She was like being goofy, wasn't afraid
Having
to be
fun.
goofy. Plus, we
Yeah.
didn't see all the like, takeout. So like, I'm sure she was even more because like he kept saying like, I didn't know she had this side to her. So I think she was just like very goofy and wasn't like scared to be that way. And I do think Clayton's into that.
Yeah, he seems like he just wants to take it down a notch. She's not into the drama.
No.
She got more time with him. We saw like 1 second of it.
And they made out.
I guess that was boring too. Otherwise, we would have seen more. But on all these dates, when like someone wins, you never really see like what the winner gets. It's kind of weird.
I mean, usually they show like a little bit of the one-on-one time. They didn't show it at all.
She must be really boring. They probably just made out the whole time. He also had that horrible sunburn. Did you notice? Like he had like a weird like farmer's tan.
But I did notice that when they were applying sunscreen, like a lot of them just like lathered and then stopped. Like there was a lot of white left on bodies.
Maybe
like
they
I was
only
like, are
use
you
the
not going to
spray
rub
kind.
it in? It's weird.
They don't know how to do it. But Clayton had a really bad sunburn. And that is a common problem in Southern California. You think because there's cloud coverage, you're not going to get burned. But then you do. Be careful, people. Wear sunscreen.
I feel like
I wear it every day, even in winter here in New York.
I wear it if I go outside.
Yeah.
Which I don't always go outside. I think that also a lot of men have like very bad farmer's tans from like golf.
Maybe that's how he got it. It didn't seem like he even initially got it that day because we didn't really see him wearing a shirt at all, but it was really bad. And then Gabby did ask him about it later.
On his date with Sarah.
That's true.
I'm sure he wasn't prepared to run around with underwear.
He didn't have it then, though. I don't know what happened, but he was badly sunburned.
I'm saying he might have gotten it during the date, and then you know how
he was wearing a shirt.
Yeah. Oh. I get what you're saying.
He had like that tan line by his shoulders. It was like from like a muscle tank or something.
I did not notice the tan at all. I think I was just weirded out by all of it.
The whole thing was weird.
I do think that obviously these women are tiny, but he seems massive.
Massive. Yeah, he's a huge dude.
Is he actually?
I think he must be. Yeah, he must be because he makes Jesse Palmer look really small. He's just, you can tell he's like a tree. Like it's probably why he played football because he's like such like, I don't know. He's 6'5", so there's that. Very tall.
6'5", like 250.
Yeah, like he's like a lineman.
Maybe more.
He must work out a lot too and have a lot of protein powder.
A lot of protein powder. Great point.
Oh man. So then the evening, Shanae and Elizabeth get into it again. Elizabeth, she handles herself well, like you mentioned before. She doesn't want to keep talking about having to defend herself and everything with Shanae. Shanae, also the things that she says to Clayton, like the way that she sort of makes herself seem like a victim is just very frustrating. She accuses all of the women of bullying her, including Lindsay, who's pissed. Lindsay's like, do I bully Shanae? I was like, wow, I didn't know Lindsay had this in her, but I liked it.
Yeah, she was not happy, but she's not really had time with Clayton. And the one time she gets time with him, he's asking her if she's a bully. Like, I would be pissed too.
Yeah, I wouldn't like it either. Also, the word bullying is used way too loosely.
Yeah. But then in Shanae's the interview, like in her interview, she was like, "Oh, I got him. I didn't have to cry, and I cried." Like that was a full performance.
Yeah, I know. It was very frustrating. She's got to go, but she's committed to the bit. She's like really, she won't stop, can't stop. I want to say, like, even though she clearly stinks, being ganged up on also stinks. I wouldn't handle that well. I would never be in the position that Shanae's in, but I wouldn't handle it well.
She wasn't being ganged up on until she like basically was like, you know what, I'm gonna go on one on 30 and I don't care.
I mean, yeah, that's what she's basically doing. But then she gets upset when they're ignoring me. So she can't have it both ways.
It's bizarre behavior. The whole thing is so weird.
The thing is, like,
also she's 29. I looked up her age during the episode because I was like, how old is she acting like this?
Yeah, I know.
And she's 29.
If I was able to summon some sympathy for her, it totally vanished when she basically used ADHD as a slur at the end. And that was just like so messed up.
She didn't get any sympathy from me. But then that just like put a cherry on top of it all.
Yeah, it's just like such a messed up thing to say.
I also think she is weirdly obsessed with Elizabeth. Like when she was kissing Clayton in her interview, she was like, I hope Elizabeth saw it. Why are you thinking about Elizabeth while kissing Clayton?
I know. Maybe it's a sign you shouldn't be here if that's where your mind's at.
Yeah. Also with the one-on-one time, I thought Rachel's one time was kind of strange.
Is that the one where he was like whispering? Yeah, she was complaining that like she doesn't feel validated, and he's like, she was like,
everyone's coming back saying like, I feel validated, and I'm just like, what do I feel? And then Clayton was like, well, you shouldn't really be like thinking about other women, like think about our connection. And then she was like, yeah, I just think that our connection is so strong. And I was like, you literally just said that you don't feel what they're feeling, and now you're like, ours is just different and so special, and so it scares me. And it just didn't really make sense. And I really like Rachel. So I was kind of confused by her approach. Maybe she just didn't like communicate what she was trying to say correctly. I'm not sure. It was strange.
I think that she was just looking to be validated. She probably got it. And then she's like, I feel great. I'm ready to go. But
yeah, I also think she felt weird after he was like, don't compare yourself. So she was trying to like scramble because maybe she's like, yeah, why am I comparing myself?
Whispering freaks me out. So when he was like whispering to her, I just was like, ugh. Not freaks me out, creeps me out. Just like, speak normally. Are you worried about the women hearing? Or maybe the other ones were close by or something? But I was like, what is he whispering to her for?
I have to imagine it was because people were close, because he was whispering when he was like, don't compare our connection and blah, blah, blah. So I feel like he was like, I'm not trying to like have the other girls hear me say
Probably.
this.
You're probably right. I just thought it was kind of funny. And I'm just, I don't know. Whispering also like into a mic and then on camera is just like sort of weird. Doesn't work out well. So don't do it in the future, people.
Then the date ended.
Yes. Well, yeah. And oh my God, he couldn't have handled that worse. Like there was like still an issue between Elizabeth and Shanae, and he's like, I'll be handling this tomorrow. I loved how Jesse Palmer at the beginning of the episode was like, Clayton, there's no rules. You can do what you want. And then it's like, clearly someone was like, Clayton, save this for tomorrow.
Also, that's like I think 99% of people can relate to this. I fucking hate when people are like, oh, I have to tell you something. I'll tell you later. Like, I know. Why'd you even tell me that you were going to tell me something?
I know. Just say now. I know.
Or just say bye, and I don't even know that there's something coming, so I don't wait for it. So that tomorrow you can just like tell me. But like, don't be like, I'm going to tell you something, but you're going to have to wait 72 hours.
That was like such I'm a shill for production. I'll do whatever they say. Like that was like, that like showed his hand. Like you're like, oh, Clayton's not control at all.
It reminds me of like awaiting test results.
Yeah. Horrible. Horrible.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Just tell me. But yeah, we'll see what happens next episode. It seems like Shanae is still in it somehow. So I'm like,
yeah,
he doesn't eliminate her then.
What the F? I hope Elizabeth doesn't get eliminated. I like her.
Me either. And I'm really happy that you like her now.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good to be on the other side, see the light.
I just feel like she's just getting set up for like failure.
Yeah,
but like she's attached to the drama and she's not even wanting it.
But everyone's going to like her because she will, like she'll be like the victim of Shanae.
I do feel like usually whoever's in the drama ends up going home. So I feel like she'll end up going home. But I truly don't think that someone could handle it better than she's doing right now.
I agree with you. But if you're Clayton, you
don't know that.
We have only spoken 3 times, and all I know about you is that you're fighting with Shanae.
That's
why would he keep her?
He doesn't even see how she's handling it. He doesn't even know that she's brought up her ADHD. Like, he doesn't know any of that. Because he's not going back and telling on her.
It must be super weird if you're Clayton to watch the show back and be like, wow, like Elizabeth is like someone who, like all this stuff about her I didn't even know. And like, this is who she actually is.
I mean, can you imagine watching the show back and being like, wait, she didn't tell me that she was making fun of her ADHD. She didn't tell me all this stuff was happening. I'm like, yeah, because Elizabeth isn't trying to like hurt anyone else. She's just trying to save herself right now. She feels like she's drowning.
I know. I hope the best for her. It seems like the other women in the house like her. So at least maybe she's having a good experience. I feel like, and she seems kind of like a caretaker making the shrimp and everything. So that's nice too.
At the very least, she'll be on
Paradise.
VIP.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we have a lot to look forward to next week. later this week on Thursday, I've got Erin Foster coming on this podcast.
Oh, I think she's so funny.
Me too. I've been badgering her for like almost 2 years. So it finally is happening. Very excited. And you and I will be back next Monday night as per usual. And we hope you have a great week. Thank you so much to Devon Manze for producing this episode.
Adios.